So in this image, which we're zooming into a little bit, you can of course see the intracranial part highlighted in green. And you can also see the brainstem highlighted in blue, which is where the facial nerve arises, specifically the pontomedullary junction, which I've now highlighted for you in blue. And in this image, we can also see the internal acoustic meatus, encircled in blue, which is where the facial nerve enters the temporal bone. Let's just briefly take a minute to flip the brain and have a look at its inferior aspect so we can give you a bit of a deeper tour around these parts. And in this image, you can see the inferior view of the brain and the brainstem, showing the 12 paired cranial nerves projecting from the central nervous system, or otherwise known as the brain. And the facial nerve, which I'm pointing out with my blue arrow, of course, emerges from each side of the brainstem between the abducens nerve, which is the 6th cranial nerve, and the vestibulocochlear nerve, which is the 8th cranial nerve, at the pontomedullary junction, which I'm now outlining in blue. And from there, it will make its way anterolaterally towards the internal acoustic meatus, which again we mentioned before. And if you look at the zoomed image of our transverse image of the cranium from a superior view, so looking down into the internal surface of the skull from the top, as if we've lopped off the top of the person's head, you can see the internal acoustic meatus highlighted in green. And as we mentioned, it passes through here along with the vestibulocochlear nerve. And just to give you some text along with that, you can see on our left here that the intracranial part of the facial nerve arises from the pontomedullary junction and it travels anterolaterally to the internal acoustic meatus. The other thing that's important to note when we're talking about the intracranial part of the facial nerve is that it actually has 2 roots. And you can see the first one of these on the right here, highlighted in green, the motor root. And the second root that it has is the sensory root, which is also known as the intermediate nerve. And they travel together through the internal acoustic meatus, as you can see on the right in the breakout.
If you found this quick anatomy or physiology video helpful, you'll enjoy our video tutorials even more. Click on the button and you'll see what I mean. We have hundreds of videos available to our premium members, not to mention all the fun quizzes, complete articles, and atlas sections to solidify your knowledge. Click on the button in the middle to watch the full-length video and master anatomy and physiology.